Wish you scored 100% of your shots if you're at the penalty spot or closer to the net? Don't want to sacrifice power but still want a ton of accuracy? Then stick around for the soccer shooting technique, the pass shot. Hello, if we're meeting for the first time, I'm Dylan Joseph, soccer trainer and #1 best-selling Amazon Understand Soccer book series author at understandsoccer.com, and I've been training tens of thousands of soccer players for well over a decade. The Understand Soccer channel commitment is to post one video weekly demonstrating the soccer skills the soccer player needs and exactly what situations to use those skills, as well as how to practice those skills, all in an effort to build your soccer confidence. So if you want to build your soccer confidence as well as those skills, then make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon to join the soccer squad and avoid missing any future videos. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video for the pro tip of the one player you definitely want to watch when it comes to learning this form even more of the pass shot. So what are we covering today? A soccer shooting technique known as the pass shot. So when it comes to those steps, those tangible things that you can do to work on your pass shot form, there's 4 big things. First thing is you want to start behind the ball. And this is very different versus most of the other shots where you're starting 45 degrees diagonal to the ball. With the pass shot, you're starting behind. So should you in a game accidentally push it straight forward instead of diagonally from your body, then it's likely a good option to try to use the pass shot at that point. So what we're gonna do for that second tip is that we wanna plant pretty close to the ball. With our other forms, we generally plant about 1 foot away. Here, I'm maybe 6 inches at most. I wanna be very close to it. That third tip, toe up, heel down, ankle locked, knee slightly bent, foot slightly off the ground. Notice, this looks like our passing form, and it's exactly the same because we're gonna be striking this ball with the inside of our foot. And that fourth thing, super important, is when we're striking that ball, we've always gotta make sure if we're looking for that additional power and strength on that shot, is we've gotta strike it, follow through, and land past that ball, bring our back leg forward, that plant leg forward, and make sure to square and point our hips towards the portion of the net that we want to score in. So for that first point, we want to make sure that we're starting behind the ball. Okay, but not only starting behind it, but 3-4 steps if we can, so that we can generate some momentum as we approach that ball. We're gonna start running at the ball with speed so that when we strike it, we have additional momentum and power to put on our shot. So now it's super important that when we go and we approach that ball, if we're coming at a diagonal, it's much better for a driven shot, but from behind that ball, we wanna approach it directly straight on. So that when we go into that second point, we're planting about 6 inches at most away. Okay, but notice, I need this foot pointed towards the portion of the net that I want to score in. Not at the net, but the portion of the net that I want to score in. It's so important. So many players, they just throw their foot wherever it lands, no problem. Now, I understand it's difficult sometimes in a game when you're going at 100%, but be cognizant of it in practice so that as you're going through the motions, you're really emphasizing, you're really understanding where you need to point that foot so it becomes a habit in a game. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, so very important. So that third tip is that we want to make sure that we're contracting at the hip so that we can bring that leg back. Generally, the further we can get that leg back within reason, I'm not talking here, I'm talking here, we're going to be able to get more power on that shot. But now, when it comes to actually making contact with the ball, it's so important that I have my toe up, heel down, ankle locked, knee slightly bent, and foot slightly off the ground. If my foot's on the ground when I make contact, boom, that ball's popping up in the air. So it's got to be slightly off the ground. And now, when it comes to hitting it with the inside of your foot, you want to be more towards the heel because there, the ankle, the bone, the connect, more meat, more bone, a lot harder. It's like having a bat versus up here is much more like a broom up towards your toes because you hit it and that ball is not going to go very fast off of it. So it's very important to keep them in mind. Now, when it comes to this is the same form for passing, but because we're following through, because we're running through the ball when we pass it, we're going to be able to generate a lot more power on our shot. So when it comes to that fourth tip, this one's the most important for really getting the power on your shot. So now, when we go to strike that ball, we've got to make sure that as we strike it, we are continuing to follow through past it. What a lot of soccer players do, they'll end up crossing their legs, reduces a ton of power. Don't do that. Follow through that ball. So if I'm striking it here, I want to make sure I'm landing past that ball and continuing to strike through so that my hips, my momentum, my body weight can get through that shot so that I'll get more power on that shot. And it's so key to remember that. Just shooting and stopping, you're gonna have a lot less power because you're only using your leg versus using your entire body on that ball to get all the way through it. Pass shots are best used when shooting at the net from close range. Ideally, if you're between the penalty spot and the 18-yard box or closer to the net, then the pass shot is appropriate since shooting accuracy is a top priority when you are close to the net. Power matters too, and that is why you should follow through with your leg as well as your entire body to hit a harder shot, but a well-placed shot is going to have a higher chance of scoring when you are closer to the net and the goalkeeper has little time to react. So if you're getting value from this channel, please in the comment section below, comment how many goals you scored last season. I'm curious how many you were able to net. So that first thing that we want to avoid is we want to avoid planting behind the ball. If I'm planting behind the ball and I'm reaching for it, I'm taking a lot of the power of my leg out because I have to extend my entire body in order to strike it. Notice from back here, I'm able to generate a lot more force and momentum and speed of that leg to follow through that ball versus having to reach for it and just strike it with very little follow through. So it's so important that we don't plant behind. But now, a trick, something you got to keep in mind is that when that ball's rolling, we shouldn't be planting next to it because then as it rolls, I'm still going to be reaching and striking that ball too far away from my body. Versus what we should really do is plant past that ball as it's rolling so that when I strike it, it's perfectly next to my foot. So that second thing, super important that we want to avoid, is crossing our legs. So crossing our legs is one, gonna turn our hips. So if I was trying to aim for that post and I'm now pointing this way, guess what? My shot's probably going right down the middle or even to the other side of the net. More likely right down the middle. And what happens when I cross my leg is I'm not really having much of a what? A follow through. So it's so important that when we strike that ball, we are getting through the ball and getting a lot of our body weight through it versus just hitting the ball with just our leg. Remember, we want to hit the ball using our foot, but we want to hit it with our entire body. And that third thing you want to avoid is avoid lifting those shoulders and lifting that head. I know, I'm with you. I want to see all my goals go in. I love it when I score. I love people telling me, oh, you're awesome, you're great, all this stuff. But they're only going to tell you that if the ball actually goes in. So as soon as you go to strike that ball and you lift up and you look back, guess what? Your entire form crumbles. That ball's going to pop up in the air, and oftentimes as you get older and stronger, boom, that ball's going way over the net. Okay, you're kicking field goals instead of actually trying to score on net. So that's why it's so important. As we strike this ball, we're keeping our form down and together. Notice you don't have to watch your ball to go in for the goal to count. You don't need to see your goals, so don't watch. Now, if that ball's in flight, you've had your head down for a second or two, sure, look up, see where the ball's going. No worries, but as you strike it, it's so important you keep your head down so that you can keep your form together. As a reminder, stick around to the end of this video for that pro tip that you've been waiting for. In order to practice, grab some soccer balls and head to somewhere that has a net or at least a wall. There are 4 major steps to this form, and trying to do them all at once will result in terrible form. Instead, just aim to master the first step of having the ball directly in front of you as you're approaching it. Next, once you master that, focus on properly planting next to that ball. Practice 10, 15, maybe even 20 times, knowing that you are doing deliberate practice to become a whole lot better, a whole lot quicker. Then move on to striking the ball with the inside of your foot with that toe up, heel down, ankle lock, knee slightly bent, foot slightly off the ground. Work on following through and landing on your shooting foot while bringing that back leg forward. Think of each point as a step. In order to get up a staircase, you have to take each step one at a time. Soccer squad, since we're talking about shooting and finishing in this video, this is in the second layer of the individual soccer player's pyramid. As a soccer player, start with passing and receiving because every soccer player needs that. Then move to the second layer of the pyramid. You will have a selection to make here. My recommendation is that if you're a defender, then go to the defending section first and grab that book. If you're a midfielder, focus on dribbling and foot skills first. However, if you're a forward or striker, then go to shooting and finishing first. I really care about you and want to provide you as much value you as possible. I want you to be able to be confident anytime you're close to the net in order to score an insane amount of goals. If you want to learn more about how to have the hardest and most accurate shot in your league, then grab the second book in the Understand Soccer series, Soccer Shooting and Finishing, today on Amazon.com using the link in the description below. This book is available in paperback, audiobook, and ebook and makes a terrific gift. And if you use the link in the description below for the audiobook to sign up with Audible, you can listen to this book for free by creating a new account. So for that pro tip, a player that is terrific at doing that pass shot, striking that ball with the inside of their foot is David Luiz. He's played and he currently plays for Arsenal. He's played for Chelsea, PSG, and plays for the Brazilian national team. Now, back in 2014 in that World Cup, he had a spectacular goal from well outside the 18 using an actual pass shot, and he's very good at being able to get that ball to zig and zag as it approaches the net, which confuses the keeper. So go take a look at him for a professional that you can build off of, that you can learn from, and also being able to strike a terrific pass shot. Now, Soccer Squad, let me know in the comment section below if you have any feedback on how I can make these videos better, or if you have any suggestions for future videos that you'd love for me to cover. And if you receive value from this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon to ensure you don't miss any future videos, and share this video with someone that you think it'll help that's looking to increase their abilities with that pass shot. Also, Soccer Squad, you don't want to miss that next video on shooting the trivela. The trivela is basically a fancy way of saying shooting with the outside of your foot. And if you haven't watched that video on how to bend/curve that ball around a wall, around a defender, around a goalkeeper, then make sure to click here. And Soccer Squad, let me know how many goals that you scored last season. And if you could, follow me at Understand Soccer on Instagram if you like fun soccer facts as well as soccer memes.